Hello, Lily Tuff. Welcome to the stream. Get started here in just a couple minutes. Welcome, Go With Him. Glad you're here. Going ahead and get started in a couple minutes here. We're going to be adding some map icons to my world map here and get some lore going, get the old brain cogs turning, and get some more information available to my players. Welcome to the stream. Kickstand, welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. Hope you're having a good Thanksgiving holiday if you celebrate it. And if you don't, I hope you're having a good Thursday or Friday, wherever you are in the world. Kickstand, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, let us go ahead and get started a little early here. Alrighty. Well, thank you to all who are here right now. For those of you here, my name is Drew Boat, or the Drew Boat, or Drew, whatever you prefer. And we are going to add some lore to my world map today. Just a nice little cozy Thursday evening stream here. And last time I was focusing on an area in the world called the Shattered Land, sort of in this west-southwest portion of the continent. Very rugged lands, a lot of desert, some mountains here on the west-hand side, a lot of dangerous roads here. However, it is not without its beauty. So, I have a couple things here. One of the sort of the largest settlements in the Shattered Lands here is Malashar, the Marvel of the Sands. It is a place ruled by 11 kings. This is a nice little kind of reference photo of kind of how I imagine it looking. And we also added some information to Asgard, which is sort of the prime village in the area. There's one concept art piece right here. And another little sort of oasis portion of this place as well. So yeah, last we sort of left off here, we were trying to decide, considering that this is a village here on the sort of western part of the lands before you start getting into sort of jagged terrain that is not really too hospitable, kind of the last reaches before the wilds would take you. I'm going to be trying to give a little more information on how maybe some of the kings and political intrigue from Malashar kind of twist the knife and demand tithe from Kosgard and whatnot. And last I left off was down here, so I have we're going to add some lore about how Boshane, the king of Coin and Malashar, twists the knife on the tithe paid from Kosgard. Why does he have an interest in this place? So it seems like a perfectly good place to start. Alrighty. So we're going to leave that bullet point there until we feel somewhat satisfied. And if you would like, feel free to jump into the chat. No answer is a bad answer. We're just kind of spitballing here, and we're chucking the pasta at the wall and seeing what sticks. All right. So what do we know about Boshane? So Boshane is the king of Coin, handles a lot of the financials, not just in Malashar but in the region. So really, that just means Kosgard. And then maybe we might be doing the Sanguine Stronghold tonight and kind of figuring out what that is. So exports from the Shattered Lands, you're going to have a lot of kind of glassware, maybe even some ceramics, textiles, hide from more dangerous animals. That would be nice. Even maybe some stones, gemstones from this mountainous region here. Maybe sort of on these sort of jagged shores, there's decent alchemical ingredients that might fetch a pretty penny. We could work with that. That sounds good to me. So, let's start here. Alrighty. So, Boshane, while appreciating the luxury of Malashar and all that it has to offer, seems to consider Kosgard more of a nuisance than a boon. Let's see. There is no denying that Kosgard does play an important role in the trade markets here, but is often pushed aside if it We're not for the rare materials that cannot be found on the eastern sides, or the eastern side of the vast deserts. And we won't have to go into too much detail about sort of what the what those sort of exports are, but yeah, if we have enough to, go off the top of our head, that'll be good enough for a while. All right. So in Malashar, this is where skyship technology was invented. Skyships cannot go very far, but they still go far enough to where they would avoid a lot of the dangers of the desert here, while they make their way sort of east and north to more temperate landscapes. So let's see here. What else do we have to consider? Skyships of the granule, which would be the sort of granule, just derivative of granular, thinking of an organization that deals in a sandy place, in the desert place. And I'm assuming in my mind, after just toying it around a couple days, there must be something in the desert that unlocked the inventions, such as the skyships. What that is, hey, I have no idea, but we will get there. Revolutionary technology made trade between any region the Shattered Lands had interest in, devoid of near all risk of losing their traveling bands of traders. Dodging the wastes around the city and the dangers beyond the walls, Malashar is truly a trader's paradise. Malashar is overseen by 11 kings, and we went into some detail on that. Okay, so let's just keep this windowed here. And let's see. What I'm thinking immediately is that there would be something subterranean that would contribute to the new technology. Maybe there is some sort of property that on maybe a mineral or something that reverses gravity, or makes the effects of gravity null, and maybe through the act of burning it or burning it, keeping it hot, striking it, applying some sort of arcane energy to it, activates the sort of reverse gravitational property, something like that. So let's write that down before we forget, shall we? And then we'll need a name for it. So let's say we'll call it a mineral for now. The mineral known as, and then a name here. The mineral known as blank has a previously unknown property when compared to that of other. Now let's just use the word material components. Just straight kind of spellcaster talk. Unknown property that when compared to that of other material components, and let's also just say alchemical ingredients. That of which would be the probability. Hey, Kicksan, good to see you. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, no, I know it's a pain. It just it keeps the rabble out. Well, Kicksan, thank you. I appreciate you doing all that, and I hope you enjoy your time here. Yeah, I might consider changing that to just followers. Maybe you don't have to wait 10 minutes, or maybe it's 5 minutes or something. Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Every follow counts. Every chat message I appreciate, and I hope you're having a good day. Hey, all I see is usernames. I don't know who's the good and the bad. All right. That of which would be the act of rendering gravity useless. Glad to hear it. Okay, so we're going to need a name for some sort of mineral that will reverse gravity. So we'll come up with that. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking, so gravity, attraction, pulling, weight, even something like void crystals. That'd be pretty cool. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's see. Let's say if it were not for this substance, actually, I might change mineral to substance. Yeah. It might be likely that Cosgard would not be considered at the very minimum that it is now. So in regards to world building, and especially when it comes to dungeons, think in your mind, well, first you have to be consistent. So consistency is king in it. It has to be believable to you if it's going to be believable to your players. Beyond that, I mean, if you care for, say, the ecology of a dungeon, right? So say you have a gelatinous cube that is hidden away in one room, hiding by being perfectly still, and you can see through it. What does that gelatinous cube feed off of? Is it a place where they get many adventurers or many animals that might wander into the dungeon not knowing any better? Basically, how does that person or that creature eat, drink, whatever it has to do to survive? Then is there a creature that hunts the cube? Is there, if you have a spider or a snake that sort of crawls through the cracks of the dungeon, how does that get food and, nourishment and stuff like that? Just consider that it has to be somewhat believable. But again, only if you care about that stuff. If your players just want the sort of adventure where you go into a dungeon, hack and slash, do your best, try not to die, get the gold, get out, do it again. I mean, you can render some of that information useless, but stay consistent and make sure it has a style that's true to you, or a style that you feel comfortable evoking to your players. Yeah, Kickstand, I would say, play off the idea of themes or motifs. Write down like 5-10 of them, and then try and build a sort of like an ecology around that. Kickstand, that's up to you. I mean, you can. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not exactly a good or a bad idea to throw any creature at them ever. I mean, consider that sometimes if you're rigid on saying, there is a beholder in a dungeon, no matter if the players are level 1 or level 10, if you see a beholder, the way they're going to react is different. Hey, if you want it, put one in. If it's the right time for you, it's the right time for the game. And, if they realize after one turn that they're overpowered, they can run away or they can try and be brave and stay and fight. I mean, there's two different questions. Do you want it in your game, or do you want to challenge your players, or do you just want it to have it? Yeah, that's entirely up to you. Okay. So I don't know why, but the idea of naming it void crystals is just very evocative to me. Let's say void crystals for now, and we'll give it some formatting. Bold, some italicized. And let's say it had a previously unknown property. And then rendering gravity useless. Unique dungeons just, I mean, when you think about it, unique just means doing something you haven't done yet, right? Or doing something with a different spin on it. Have you done a dungeon where the theme is decay and everything that's, you know, everything that, uh, living life that touches it, plant life, it all turns to disease very quickly. Any creatures that might be in the dungeon that do necrotic damage, instead of doing a d6 worth of damage, they do a d8 or a d10, or maybe you add an immunity to them, or yeah, make a I plan to stream more often. I had my first stream a few days ago. I've had the idea of streaming some world lore, just to sort of share it with whoever wants to watch for quite a while. I plan to stream at least a couple times a week. I would say ideally I'd want to do minimum 3 days a week and a couple hours a day, and just kind of force myself to spend time to it, and I get to interact with a community who loves the things that I do. Just trying to make it a bit less of a solitary experience. Let's say that would be the act of rendering gravity useless through the application of arcane energy. So maybe you need to constantly cast like a cantrip on it to power these void crystals, or every half hour a warlock kind of pumps an eldritch blast into it, not sort of making an attack against it, but literally putting their hands on these crystals and just kind of pulsing energy. Nice. I hope it goes well, Kickstand. Okay, so that answered a little bit about bushing. Formatting, that's fine. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's go with Kickstand. I would consider that unique, right? It's not just an owl bear. It's an owl bear who can speak. Maybe it's not just goblin worshippers. Maybe it's goblin worshippers where also one of them was trying to stage a coup and wasn't on board with worshiping an owl bear. Yeah, I don't blame you. No, doesn't always have to be a fight. All right, let's use our little journal notes icon here. We're gonna double click to make a new one. I'm gonna give all my players sort of observer permissions, and we're gonna name this the Sanguine Stronghold. Have it match the map. And we'll add this to our map lore folder. And Sanguine Stronghold. Let's try and find maybe like a fortress art or something. Military fort, hill fort. Let's do hill fort because it's on a place called Crimson Rock. Name of this little island down here. Yeah, Kicksand. No, good thinking on your feet there. Alrighty, let's put that right there. And what I like to do, we're gonna try and add an image to this, just to give it some context of what I think it looks like. Like, this was my original image for Malishar, but I didn't like that it wasn't sort of steampunky enough. Nice, Kickstand. So let's say text on this minimum. All right, open up our image search here, and we're gonna search through Microsoft Azure here. So let's say I'm just gonna type Stone Fortress. And let's type Fantasy Fortress. Try and get that art style. Yeah, it sounds like a good time, Kickstand. Yeah, it's good. I highly recommend a Google Doc or something like that to keep notes in. Keep the story straight in your head. I like this. Yeah. Like that, like that's on a hilltop. I'll keep looking though. Give that a download. Let's try and find one, maybe a bit more orange yellow type color palette. Not terrible. Even this one I do kind of like. I'll give that one a download as well. I do Fantasy Island Fortress. That'd be our last search here. Oh, that's cool. Some floating islands there. It's very industrial. That's cool too. I might use that for like a in-text image. All right, so we're gonna apply an image here. So we're gonna navigate here to our asset library. This is through Moulinet. Images, Bing from today, and which one do I want? Let's go this one. Yeah, that's good to me. And text. All right, so for what I like to do regarding text, I'll write the name of it. I will usually attribute a quote from somebody in the world. So I'll say quote goes here, and down here, say quote giver's name. Then we'll start to go into some context in an image. I mean, really, anything can classify on it regarding the situation. I mean, remember, in games like D&D, right? I mean, it's hard to have a good time if you're rolling under a 5 all night. So you're at the mercy of, randomness, sure. But also, I mean, if you or players are having fun, I mean, you're doing it right, I would say lair actions or any other like legendary actions or stuff like that. I would add that. I wouldn't mind adding it early on, honestly. But it has to be scaled appropriately, right? So if you want a lair action, maybe if they need to make a deck save to avoid falling rocks or crystals in like a crystal cavern, make the DC like 11, 12, 13, something on the lower end of the spectrum if they're at lower levels, like 4, like you said. Something that where it balances nice, so maybe those lair actions are a hindrance while they're trying to focus on the boss or mini boss that you have set up. As far as what classifies as it, I mean, you could always just take something from like the monster manual or whatever source you're using, pump up the hit points, increase the damage, so now, a regular hobgoblin in the book is now like a hobgoblin brute, right? Or, change their weapon damage. Instead of, if they're using a D12 great axe, maybe say it's 2d12, on the first target that it attacks on a turn or something. Yeah. Do little modifications like that. All right, so let's go ahead and insert the other image that we like in here. So let's go with this one. It's not bad. I'll probably add some context before the other image. So Sanguine Stronghold. Immediately what I'm thinking here, what am I thinking here? Why would there be a stronghold here on Crimson Rock? I did have some political intrigue in Malashar. So there are 11 kings that sort of rule over the city and focus on different things. One of them is like a diplomat who acts as like an ambassador to other nations or regions, local militias, stuff like that. What could we do there? Let's see, for goblins. Immediately I'm thinking whatever the goblins, or either whoever the strongest goblin is, or another creature that wouldn't outright attack the goblins, and they are trying to either befriend or just be in the protection of. So think of what creatures are sort of in that area that sort of fit the bill, Underdark creatures. And I would say go from there. Or again, just throw a spin on it. An Underdark creature who maybe is aging, but the goblins don't know that, and they still see this large creature, much larger than them, as strong and a fit enough leader. And now this older creature has some fodder that sort of creates a barrier between that creature's age and other things in the Underdark that want to go after it. Okay, so we have this diplomat here who maintains ambassadorship between any and all friendly organizations and nations. Would that king have an ambassadorship to the Sanguine Stronghold? Let me think about that. I could see it. Maybe because we also have Yusham Natin, the King of Steel, who is the master of the Blade Matrons, which is this sort of large, if not all, sort of female, sort of badass city guard. Perhaps when there are expeditions that they don't want to risk the Blade Matrons, they will conscript or just downright pay maybe a legion from the Sanguine Stronghold to make ventures further somewhere else or fight on their behalf. So I'll do that. And then I'll attribute a quote at some point as well. All right. So let's say the solitary, or the soul rather, the soul construction on beautiful. The beautiful island of Crimson Rock is known as the Sanguine Stronghold. This bastion that holds about 2,000. No, it's a bastion that, let's say, has a capacity to hold about 2,000 soldiers. Is let's see, is the towering landscape of which this place is known for. Often, the kings from Malashar make bids on, make bids on the fighting prowess of these people to do their dirty work for them. Most often, king's name. Most often it is Ulshamani or Yusham Natin that makes the trek to keep up relations with the hierarchy here. Obviously, we need a leader. Kickstand, that sounds good to me. Sounds fun. Throw it in there. Okay. The stronghold is garrisoned by a command structure of, let's say, 5. Let's go 4. Like 4. And we'll make a little bulleted list here. So immediately I want a commander. Let's say a quartermaster. Let's see, what would we call? I'm thinking of somebody who's training the soldiers. What would I call them? Let's say maybe instructor? And maybe an advisor as well. So, Commander, top of the food chain, commands soldiers on a battlefield, in charge of outfitting and, let's say, even as little or as much as feeding the soldiers. The instructor prepares the legions for battle ready status. And the advisor seeks out the best bid for the organization. Does not have to be concerned for of dangerous options if the price is right. Yeah, Kicksane, you could also try like I think they have like young black dragon or black dragon wormling, I want to say is also a creature, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't have to be an adult or an ancient dragon. Or like I said, take a stat block that you like and, lower the AC, lower the hit points, maybe limit some of the legendary stuff. Remember that's all up to you. All right. So we're going to go right back down here and we'll think of some names. So let's go Commander. A Z name here. I'm not sure why. Zulakash. Ruman. ZG. Go Quartermaster. Romani. Sub. Go Instructor. Get some names flowing. Oh, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Alrighty. Okay, instructor. Let's go Kylan. Kylan Dola. And advisor. I'm going to make a lizard folk advisor here, and they traditionally only have one name. Not often do they have surnames. Let's say advisor. Let's go. Let's go Wojcik. Kicksand, I would look for any monsters that are common in the Underdark. And then just pick one you like. And then if they don't have lair actions or the resistance that you're looking for, just modify the creature that you like. Okay. So let's go. This will be a lizard folk. Kylan. I like human there. Not sure why. Ramani. Let's go Earth Ganassi. I like that. Zulakash Gruman. Sounds orcish, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have a heavy orc presence over here. What do I like? Let's see, Verdun. Changeling, that'd be cool. Oh, Yuan-Ti. Oh, let's go Yuan-Ti. Do I know why? No. That sounds cool. Yuan-Ti sort of rises to power and is respected. I'll work with that. Can work with that indeed. Okay. And why would they be here as well? Why on Crimson Rock and not on the mainland? Maybe this is sort of a place for excommunicated soldiers or something like that. Retirees who kind of still think they have gas in the tank. Hook horror sounds awesome. Yeah, good for you. Good stuff there. Hey, well, welcome. It's quite a fun time, if I do say so myself. Alrighty, let's add some more lore here. Most of the fighting forces that make up the entirety of the stronghold are often that of either, let's say, subjugated um, or less fortunate peoples that want to show they have something to prove. Many of them are, let's say, ex-convicts that the command structure sees potential in. Yeah, D&D is good for helping you find a voice. That's for sure. All right. So many of them are ex-convicts that the command structure sees potential in. Some also travel here. By sea in the hopes of joining this bastion. The world is full of people with broken dreams, and this place holds refuge for those who are courageous enough to take the leap of faith. That is cool. That is a cool idea, Kickstand. Okay, I like that so far. Let's add a little bit of personality to this command structure. Okay. Commander Zulakash Grumman is known as a fierce fighter. Let's say he holds many scars, but has a story that he loves to tell for each of them. Among the chief responsibilities of the commander is that of battlefield leadership. This is an area where none can doubt the Yuan-Ti's greatness. Yeah, Kicksand, that sounds perfect. Or like a random chance. Maybe instead of 1d4 turns, you could also consider, roll a 1d4 and on an odd number or an even number, whatever you choose, have a different thing happen. So maybe no matter what, something always happens, but one might be, you could have 4 different effects. You can have a different effect for an even number or an odd number. Just sort of keep players on their toes. So extra action would function as a legendary action. So whenever you think legendary action, just think of it as a creature has, a number of legendary actions that they can take in a turn cycle that resets at the top of their turn. So say you have a creature with 2 legendary actions that they can use every turn, but they can only use them at the end of other people's turns. So say you have, a legendary action that costs one legendary action, and it's to make an attack at the end of somebody else's turn. Or maybe you have a legendary action that costs all 2 legendary actions, but it's to cast a spell or get an additional reaction or something like that. A nice little story here. It is rumored that with just a rusted dagger and 25 warriors under his command, they bested a troop of, let's say, 60. No, give a little more. That's a troop of 70, of which was a and some renown whose name is now lost to time. Alrighty. So for the Earth Genasi here, Ramani Ilsab. Let's go male Yuan-Ti. Let's go female Earth Genasi. Island. Let's go male human. And female. Alright. Ramani Al-Sab has the duties of procuring equipment for the fighting forces of the stronghold, and also maintains security and upkeep of the keep, or of it. Yeah, kickstand. If you want to be, if you want it to be difficult, just make it whatever will be a pain. That's honestly the best advice I can give. Kind of think of it in your head, sort of play it out in your head if you can, and just think, huh, what will really make somebody upset or keep them on their toes? The quartermaster. Hmm. Quartermaster also has opinions and a loud voice when it comes to matters of hmm, negotiations involving items that the stronghold may be short on. When things were dire, there. All right. Things were dire during Narragoth's altercations with Narragoth's forces while being conscripted by um, dire during altercations with Narragoth's forces while being conscripted by the Sun Herald. It was rumored that uh, quartermaster at the time turned down thousands of gold pieces for a dozen goats and pigs to be used as pack animals and food supply. Alrighty. Instructor Kylan Dola. Say Instructor Kylan Dola was once a high-ranking officer in the Obsidian Army. After he took a near grievous injury, Instructor Dola started to doubt his abilities. It was not long before Commander Zulakash had heard of this disservice to the Graying Man. In which the commander promptly sent for Island services. Kexan, I'm actually not sure. I haven't dealt with mythic traits all too often. I'm afraid I can't help you there. I know of them, but I know not what they do. Ground services. Although he still carries a limp from the injury he uh, took in battle, the smile still returns to his face if he ever finds himself against a hostile foe. Say against a daring foe. Cool. So we did commander, quartermaster, instructor. Let's go ahead and do advisor now. So advisor Wojcik. Advisor Wojcik used to work for the trade. Let's see. Yeah, kickstand. I'm not too sure. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure on that. I'll have to use old Google for that. Oh, okay. So it's probably based on like a racial ability or something like that. That's cool. Advisor Wojcik used to work for a trade organization known as, what can we call a trade organization here? Let's see. Let's just call it something based on a surname. Used to work for Wilburn's Trade Company. It was once, let's say, the manager of operations for the naval division of the company. Yeah, Kicksand, that makes sense to me. Okay. Now what do we got here? This chick is later in her years, but still is a master of negotiations. She is the prime reason why the Sanguine Stronghold now holds bids for its services from not only the kings of Malashar, but say any lordships to the far reaches of the noble lands. Using this influence, the forces of this bastion have grown fearsome, not to be tested by those who know of them. That works for me. Alright, let's take a look at the formatting here. Structure 4, Commander Zulakash. Beautiful. Context picture down there. I like that. And we still gotta make a quote. So let's look at the map here. Gale Haven. I like that. Maybe a naval traveler took passage sort of southeast, went all the way around, was trying to kind of come around to Knight's Reach or something, took a different route, found Crimson Rock, saw the stronghold, didn't read about it in a book, and had some stuff to say about it or something like that. Yeah, I like that kickstand. Deck saving throw. I think if any attack, whether it like say I would word it something like, if any creature within 5 feet makes a melee or spell attack against it, it may use its reaction to attempt a dexterity saving throw, DC 10, 12, 15, whatever. And on a success, the creature can jump to, jump, 15 feet away, 20 feet away, 30 feet away on any surface that it can see. Yeah, that could. Yep, and then it won't be able to use that until the next time its turn comes around because it's spent its reaction. Yeah, that works. Let's give a quote about the Sanguine Stronghold. When I saw it, I thought I was dreaming. I had not seen such a fortress upon a hill that looked so menacing. Even from miles away, I feared whatever instruments of death that hellish rock contained, not knowing if my ship was safe. So, quote giver's name. Let's say this was some ship captain from Gale Haven. Let's say this would be Gelva. Gelva Stoutheart. Ship captain from Gale Haven. Now, looks like a quote is attributed to somebody. Gives a little bit of imagery here. Well, if it is a reaction, it is recharged because reactions always come back on the creature's turn, right at the top of their turn. You could make it similar to like how a dragon can't use a breath effect unless it rolls a certain number on a d6. You could do something like that. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's take a look here. Information there. Context of the kings who might trek here to keep relations up. Who the fighters are. Command structure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Commander, quartermaster, instructor, and advisor. And then another photo. And then this photo still looks pretty cool. Nice. Okay. That is looking good to me. And do we finish off? Yeah, let's finish off this region. Let's do this sort of village of Yellow Side. Kickstand, if you want it to be a bit more sort of like tough to hit, a little more dexterous, I would just honestly up the armor class, and when somebody hits or misses, emphasize the dexterity that the creature has. Say, yeah, you could do something like that. I was thinking maybe, just during the descriptions of hitting or missing, give hints of how dexterous it is for its size, or it seems to move with a panther-like mobility in this, in a space where you would not expect it to do so. All right, let's do this Village of Yellow Side here. Let's give everybody observer permissions. This is going to be in the map lore folder, and let's call it Yellow Side. All right, and we want an icon. Icon here. And what do we get if we type village? Already got the village huts down here. Let's go regular village. Asset size 70. And put it right in there. So let's try and find an image, shall we? Or image search. And let's say fantasy village. We want something with like an orange or yellow. It's not bad. Sort of an orange or yellow palette to it. Yeah, Kickstand, I would say just use that in the descriptions as the fight is going on. Nobody's gonna see the stat block but you. That's cool. I like that one. It's gonna be near the ocean, but I don't think I would want it to be on the ocean there. What do we like here? Fantasy Village Ocean. Yeah, it's gonna get a lot of blues. Doesn't look too bad. It looks very Sea of Thieves. Yeah, Kickstand, if that's the case, I would write it out um as if you were writing it as a like a an adventure or something. So where you could like step back and present it to another DM um without having to have any other explanation, and maybe leave some things up to interpretation, but just sort of think of it as, how would this work if you had to give it to somebody else? Oh, that's cool. I'm not going to use that right now, but I want it. Okay, let's get an image going for here. So we'll go back to our Moulinet images today. I like this one. Then I'll add this for it being on the coast. So same formatting. Village of Yellowside. We'll do quote here. Quote giver here. And let's go ahead and insert a image right now. 1240 by 700. Let's go maybe 900. Stretch it out a little bit there. Alrighty, so let's say Yellowside is a arid village. Or no, a temperate. Is a temperate village located on the southern side of the Gulf of Repentance. It is home to about, let's say, a nice 800 people. And consists mainly of fishermen or those who farm the fertile lands that are lucky to be found on the outskirts of the deserts to the west. Yeah, it could be at the beginning. I would, ask yourself, well, if it's at the beginning, what is stopping it from leaving the place that it's in? Why is it beholden to the Underdark for some reason, or is there, why is it staying where it is? Why doesn't it venture out if it's in the more beginnings? No, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Just something to consider. Found just north of the bitter dunes that wall. Bitter dunes that wall off the city. Okay, yeah, your call. And just north of the bitter dunes that wall off the city, uh, yellow side. Side finds great pleasure being far from the dangers of the ruby wastes and that of the shattered lands. It is not often that creatures from those places venture so far out into more temperate climates. Side exports a large amount of lemongrass and more tropical fruits such as mangoes, for which the region is known for. Having some port presence on the ocean, actually, from trade sailing presence on the ocean, yeah, I would make one cost 1 and then the other cost 2. Having some trade sailing presence on the ocean. The economy of this quaint harbored village is kept well sustained by such trade. It's a nice simple little note there. What else can we detail? Oh yeah, I guess I would still consider this part of the Shattered Lands. Let's detail that. While still considered a part of the Shattered Lands, the people here are often not well educated on the borders or on the dangers and intrigues of the lands further to the south. Some, actually most have only heard tale about Malashar and Kosgard, but but it is rare to find someone that wants to make that journey. Loud screech. That could be Constitution or Charisma. Yeah, I would use either of those. Flavor it however you want. Mhm. Let's make that journey. Um, I mean, it could be Constitution. It doesn't have to be. I was just kind of tossing an idea out. Saving throw 10 or more. I would say a nice average number is around 12 to 14, somewhere in that region. Um, 15 and higher is when I would consider it like intermediate to difficult. If you think maybe the average character of that level has a save of about +3, right? And they need to roll 12. If it's a DC 15, they need to roll 12 to 20 to succeed. If they have a +3 modifier, so that's what, 40% of the dice, the possible outcomes. Okay. At one point, there was a bid from a ruling figure in Yellow Side that would have made the village a subsidiary. Yeah, it's not the right word, but I'll come back to it. Of the Midlands. However, it was voted down in a narrow vote. Pineapple Pirates. I love it. Welcome to the crew. DC is like difficulty challenge, so think of it as the number you have to hit to succeed. Or I believe it's difficulty class. My mistake. Not challenge. I think it's difficulty class. I would say until the start of their next turn. I wouldn't make it too hard. a narrow vote for fear of retaliation. From the bigger. How would I word this? Ruling figure in yellow side that would have made the village a subsidiary of the Midlands. However, it was voted down in a narrow vote for fear of retaliation from the more prominent settlements to the south. I like that. I would say 1 minute would be way too long. I would keep it until the start of their next turn. Or until, or you can make it deafened until they succeed the save, and they can try the save at the end of their turns. Okay, that's not bad. Then we have that image, different side. That's cool. I think most of this place would be inland. Yeah, that could work, Kickstand. Okay. I'm liking this. I am liking this indeed. I'll have to add to Port Principe a bit. I've got a lot of this area covered. I like that little vignette around the corners there. I think that the CR is pretty arbitrary because you're pairing it with like lair actions and stuff. Oh, I would consider it somewhere between 7 and 10 maybe. But it all depends on, the rest of the stat block. I would just look at a general guide of how they calculate CRs, and go from there. but just kind of thinking about it, it sounds like it's somewhere around the 7 to 10, like that intermediate sort of creature meant to be a tough time. Okay, Perch of the Phoenix. That's good, and then I'm gonna detail the dragon presence there. Don't know if I'll do that tonight. Asgard. Got a lot more done there. Yeah, it's such a gorgeous picture. It just gets my mind fluttering. I like these inner rings, almost uh like age rings on a tree that just keep going out, almost as if this was like an initial fortification, and then it kept building on and just got bigger and bigger. And then that sunset providing like that volumetric lighting is absolutely incredible. Okay. That might be it for the lore that I want to put on now. These places are all where my players have been before. So here, even Cairndal, although I can put some imagery up for that, and at least what my players know. Been inside the Gloamwood. Let's see. So I do want to go ahead and edit this icon, actually. We'll make it super big, and red means to do. Still got to work on that. That's incomplete. I'll even change this on this Frostburn Outpost, which I just found an image that I really liked. And again, just make it red for incomplete. These down here, it's work in progress. Astrozoria. That's good there. Okay, and actually, you know what? Not incomplete. You're just partial. There we go. And what is one that I want to work on? Let's see. Well, in the lore, this is also definitely a partial here. I would say, yeah, 6 to 8, somewhere around there. I would say, yeah, I would say 6, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Just kind of going back over the information that you gave me. Yeah, I think 6 sounds right. I'm gonna say this one is partial, but it's close. And let's do one we haven't even started on. They've been to Cairndal, but I'm gonna make it true. This we'll just make red or have not done yet. Get a better icon for that. Icons. What if I just search magic? spellcaster hand. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, definitely. Think how that creature would work tactically, right? They're gonna have a certain mood, a certain aesthetic that they sort of conform to. Um, do they go in guns blazing? Do they play more tactical? Play it safe? Are they just ruthless? Yeah, just consider all that stuff. Just kind of bullet point it. Okay, so next stream, whenever that is, could be tomorrow, could be the day after, who knows. We are going to finish adding detail on the Perch of the Phoenix, on Port Principe, sort of a central port town on the continent, an elven city of wonder in the ethereal plains, and a dwarven settlement or outpost, a Frostburn outpost in the north. And then if we have time, we will start on the Arcane Academy at Cairndal. I'm liking that. So we got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 partials, and then 1 to focus on if we get time. Yep, Kickstand, that sounds right. Okay, I think I am going to leave it there for the evening. Let's find somebody to host. I want to leave you all in good, capable hands. And let's stick in the Dungeons and Dragons category. Let's give people some love. Yeah, Kickstand, I'm gonna host somebody. So if you want to stick around, feel free. Let me just find somebody here. Looks like we have a VTuber painting some minis. Yeah, I like that. Unique. Let's go ahead and give a follow, and we're gonna host him as well. This is Datum Minis. Okay. Thank y'all for coming out. We're going to be ending here. Make sure to stick around for the host. I appreciate anybody watching. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present while I share something I have a great passion and enjoyment for. And I will see you all next time.